Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Existentia podcast. What episode are we on, love?
004, I believe.
4,
Yeah.
I guess, assuming. Yeah, I think we've gotten the hang of counting. Yes. So...
No, I don't. I don't think we have.
I don't
it's
think
not
we
going to
ever
stay
will.
like this.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about nightmares. Shai is here with me, as well as her brother. What are we calling him?
I'm Super Monkey. I'm also Fire Shy. I'm also Seth.
We'll just call you Seth because that's the simplest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi,
Yeah.
welcome to Existentia. This is your first time here. How do you like it so far? Bathrooms on the left, snacks are on the table there, and don't mind the ghosts. What ghosts?
But I would like to say that I am currently outside, y'all, because we are still working out sound issues. And me being outside right now seems to be like one of the best options.
Yeah.
So if you hear like cars or loud music, that's why.
Crickets or dogs barking in the distance or Wilhelm cat screams, then yeah, that's unavoidable, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I would just like to say real quick, Doom, I could fall asleep to your voice right now.
Well, don't, because you might have nightmares. Haha. Nice segue.
Just coming full circle with it.
Taking us right back to the topic. I guess, Shai, you can go first. Let's ask the question. What is a nightmare that you've had recently that has impacted you in a significant way?
So I don't have nightmares a lot. But the times I have, they've always affected me and like mentally. Let's see, the first nightmare I remember having, God, I must have been like 7 or 8, maybe 9. I was really young, definitely single digits. And it was, I can't remember all the details, but I remember basically my family and I moving into this giant house. Like, it was huge. Like, not really a mansion, but like, it was like a mansion to us. It was huge. And I remember inviting a few friends over. And only one friend actually really showed up, and I was showing her around, and at the, like, in the, what was kind of the basement of the house. But in the basement of the house, there was basically this, it was not like an aquifer, it was like a underground water source. And it wasn't quite like a well, but it was like kind of ish a cave. I don't know, it was really weird.
So like a grotto?
I guess, yeah. Anyways, but aquifer, yeah. I think that was more so what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I rolled down there and stuff, and the water is like pure ice over. And so we're like, okay, well, I guess we can't swim, and we go back upstairs and we decide to play hide and seek, because we're kids and we're in this gigantic house. So we're hiding. I think Seth might have been the seeker. I don't know. But eventually we're all just like, okay, you know what? No. My mom calls for us, like, okay, guys, sandwich time, it's time for lunch or something.
Yum.
And this is when the nightmare starts happening. First of all, I get lost going to the basement because I was looking for my friend because I could not find her. And I go down there, and suddenly the ice double water it's completely it's completely unfrozen, and it's steaming. Like, you can see steam rising from the water. And I'm just like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, my friend, pops out of the water, completely frozen. It was, kind of in a comical type of way of, she was, legit in an cube. Or I guess it was more so a rectangle of just ice. And I had no idea what to do, and that was kind of, that's kind of what I remember, really. But I thought about that for years.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really affect me anymore.
Definitely
But,
spook, though.
yeah. And I won't say it was the worst nightmare I've had, but it
Mm-hmm.
definitely did not like it.
Yeah.
Then, should I go ahead and say a couple other dreams I've had?
I don't know. I mean, we can take turns. I guess a nightmare that I had, I was definitely a lot younger. I don't know how old I was, though. I'm trying to remember how it started. Let's see. So, it would have been... Basically, I was at my house. And this is, the house that I consider to be, my childhood home, where, I grew up. Even though we only really lived there for, 4 years. But we had a really, big yard with, woods and a creek and everything. But anyways, it was me, and I guess my siblings, and a couple of our friends, I think, and we were all hanging out outside. I'm not sure what we were doing, but basically, I just remember that at some point we all ended up getting chased by this random guy, and he was really, really tall.
Slender Man.
But he was chasing us with a gun. And I just remember running and trying to hide behind bushes and stuff. And I remember for some reason my brain in my dream was to get away from him, you have to run along these landscaping timbers, these wooden beams that are laid in around whatever, which aren't actually there in the yard, but they were in my dream. And so I was trying to balance and run along those to get away from him. And then he was shooting at me, and I guess he eventually shot me in the back, and I think that's when I woke up. And that was just a really weird dream, but also super freaky.
Yeah. I think the dreams that halfway don't make any sense at all are kind of the ones that, affect you the most, because then you can't figure out why it's happening, what caused it, and it's just kind of it makes your mind think more and more about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it causes a downward spiral.
Yeah. Seth, what about you? Had any strange dreams?
Think the most recent, scary dream I have had and this is actually what helped me to realize what my biggest fear is. And I never really had a biggest fear. Like, there's stuff I'm scared of. Like, I hate spiders. Snakes scare the crap out of me. Let's see. I have trypophobia. That's kind of a fear. But I finally found out my biggest fear with this dream. And I didn't know it at the time. It took some thinking to figure this out. But there was this like graduation. It wasn't a graduation party, but a graduation hangout. And for some reason, everyone's out kind of in the desert, but it's not like the sandy desert. It's like the dry and cracked desert type thing.
Like a wasteland.
Yeah, just kind of like a wasteland. That might actually have some sort of meaning behind it. Who knows? But we're just sitting there, just having a good time, and I look up into the sky and I see the moon. You know, nothing odd there until I kind of slightly look over and I see what looks like another moon, and then I see a total of like 3, like pretty decently close to each other. And that right there just gets me to panic. And I'm just like, what is going on? That's not right. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say this now. My worst fear is unnatural things like happening in real life. It's things that should not be possible for some reason. Maybe it's space. Unnatural thing or unnatural
Space.
things
The
and
final
stuff happening
frontier.
in space. Yeah.
There's a cat. Sorry, that was real.
Actually, sorry, now that I think about it, it might actually be stuff in space. Because I see like these 2 extra moons, and then all of a sudden they just like zoom away really, really fast, and, you know, like what a UFO would do. And the next thing I know, I see hundreds of them in the sky. And of course, now I'm just like, oh gosh, there's aliens.
You know what's a sad, terrible thing that happened in space?
What's
Mr.
that?
Stark, I don't feel so good.
No.
I hate you.
Oh,
Got him.
jeez. But in the dream, I'm just chilling, you know, kind of doing some moon gazing, I guess. And all my friends, you know, they're all like drinking and stuff, and they say, hey, we're moving this to another place. And so we all get in a car and we drive to kind of abandoned looking house. And I go up there and I'm just kind of looking around the house while everyone else is having a good time, you know, partying and stuff. Like, I guess it is party. It ends up being a party. So I'm just looking around and I see this billboard. Now this has nothing to do with anything, but I just wanted to point out how weird it was. I see this billboard that's playing an episode of Family Guy, but it's the quality is super, super bad.
Oh no, bad quality.
That's great. That's a terrible nightmare. A bad quality episode of Family Guy.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And it wasn't like it was drawn poorly. It's just like you got half the pixels that you normally would have. Maybe a little. But, and then and this is where the dream kind of ends. Literally, aliens come down in like ships, and then the dream kind of ends. But what I'm taking from that is I know that everything that we have in space is so crucial for our survival. If one thing was just off, like say, if Jupiter
like say
wasn't,
Spider-Man died.
You need to quit that. That is wrong.
I'm a terrible person. I apologize.
Like say if Jupiter just suddenly disappeared, that would affect the Jupiter has a gravitational pull on a lot of stuff. And if Jupiter wasn't there, stuff would be going like out of orbit, out of where it normally is. You know, Jupiter's moons would just go flying, stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
If something messes up, it can cause a whole cascade of things to mess up. So I see these like 3 moons. I'm like, well, Earth is gonna get pulled out of orbit. We're gonna get, because this is my thought process during this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, Earth is gonna get pulled out of orbit. Our oceans are gonna rise or something. We're gonna have huge waves, or we're gonna drown. Or, the sun's gonna get either too close or too far, and we're gonna die. But that's just because the 3 moons is unnatural. I'm changing my mind here. It's space. Things happening in space that should not happen.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence here. Unnatural meaning something something that's not how it is right now. So how stuff is right now, that's natural. So something that happens that's not that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Unnatural
Yeah.
things in space. Changes in space, I guess.
I get it, though. And it kind of makes sense because I feel like it could almost be a scale thing, because there's absolutely no way that you can control a planet or a moon or an asteroid. There's no control that you have over that. So, one little thing happens up there and it could destroy our entire planet in a moment, and there's nothing we could do about it.
Exactly. Yeah, that is 100% where that fear definitely stems from. Is if something's wrong up there, we have no control. We cannot do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the end. And I heard not too long ago, I think, the scientists I think they were from NASA, I guess. They said, by the way, an asteroid actually passed like super close to Earth and we didn't even see it coming. Whoops. And that stuff right there.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just have something like that happen. Just random asteroid comes, boom, we're done. Everyone's dead. That's the end of the human race.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it might just be space that scares me. The uncontrollability of it. How we have no control of something like that happening. But, yeah, basically that.
I guess the bright side of it is, though, we can calculate a lot of it. Like, yes, not all of it. Like, there's asteroids that we can't see coming.
Right.
But a lot of, like, the other stuff we can calculate very, very, very predictably.
Yeah.
Like, we can know exactly when, down to the millisecond, the next 347 eclipses are gonna happen.
Right.
Which that's like just really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it took years of study to be able to get close to even predicting, but we did.
Yeah.
And now I also feel like my nightmare is stupid compared to that.
Nah. Mine was stupidest.
Everyone's nightmares have some sort of different meaning to them that makes it scary for them specifically.
Yeah. So, Love,
like
what's yours?
The spooky thing about nightmares is that all of the scary things in a nightmare come from your own mind. So of course it's going to be your worst fears, your most irrational thoughts, and even then, like, there are some freaky things that your subconscious brain thinks up, like, jeez, yeah.
Like things that you wouldn't even normally
think of.
That's where dreams are extremely fascinating to me. Is okay? After you guys are done with this, I want to bring up a quick story.
Please
about
do.
dreams.
Okay, well, make a note.
Please do.
All right.
No, speak.
Right now.
Yes, right now. Talk to me, baby.
Okay. So, I read in some sort of article years ago that, like, how you can tell if you're in a dream or not. And one of the things was like, look around. Do you see any clocks? No? Well, you're not in a dream. I've disproven that because okay, another quick story. I've seen a clock in my dream and it said like 2:30 something. I woke up and it was that exact time. So that's quick disproving that thing that people say about clocks being in dreams.
I think I've kind of done that too. Not really exactly with like a clock, but like, I've like waken up and it's been like a certain time in my dream, and then it's like the exact same time IRL, and it's just kind of like, huh.
Yep, because that's
Interesting.
how precise your body's internal clock is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very, very, very precise.
See, this quick story just brings out how powerful your brain can be when you're just dreaming. Sorry. So, years ago I read on stuff how you can tell, if you're in a dream. One of the things it said, besides the clock thing, was wherever you are in your dream, do you remember how you got there? Like if you just think, oh, wait, I'm just here, and I don't know how I got here. Like, just think, okay, this is a dream. I read that. I'm like, oh, cool, whatever. Forgot about it for years, at least 3, 4, maybe 5 years, who knows. Until one day I had a dream. I was in class and I just kind of questioned if I was in a dream or not. And I asked the teacher, I said, hey, am I in a dream? She says, I don't know. Do you remember how you got here?
That's brilliant, and I love it.
And I woke up just amazed because I'm like, I had completely forgotten about that. Like, that had not crossed my mind once in years. And then my brain just decides to remind me of it in a dream. And it was so cool.
Yeah. Dreams are so fascinating. And honestly, we could make just dreams in general its own podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and say we should probably get back on track with just nightmares for now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, well, I want to leave off just by saying we have so much memory stored in our brain, and dreams help unlock what we have in our brain.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I have one.
Yes.
So fun. This is another one where I get shot. So basically.
Oh, that's fun.
It's just a very, very short, small part, but I remember, like, a lot of it kind of detailed. So, I was in a crowd of people, but it wasn't like a huge crowd, it was like maybe 20, 30 people, and we were all kind of gathered near this tree. And I remember the tree had, like, kind of low-hanging branches, and where we were standing, it was either paved or it was like cobblestone kind of like floor or ground, I guess. And I remember it was like bright and sunny out, like not a lot of clouds. And it just felt like dry and hot, I guess. But the tree had like really green leaves. But anyways, there was like this crowd of people, and I remember there was just a lot of commotion going on. And I think I was arguing with somebody, or there was like a lot of people arguing. Like it was either two sides arguing, or it was just like two people arguing in general, and there was just a lot of people watching. But anyways, I remember basically like everybody was just getting super like excited or freaked out or whatever. There was just a lot of emotions going around, and then all of a sudden, like I don't know if it was like if I had actually seen that there were guns pointed previously, but I just remember like all of a sudden I know there was a gun pointed at me, and I remember just hearing the gunshot, and I just woke up, and the whole side of my face just felt super warm.
Oof.
And I just knew that I had just gotten shot in the head.
That's freaky. Ugh, that's
And
a
I'm
no
like,
from me.
I just died in a dream and woke up in the real world.
Yeah. People say
Dang.
you can't die in dreams. I've died in a dream. Straight up. Like, I'm pretty sure I was actually getting shot too, because I used to have dreams that I was like in war, running away from gunfire. Those were weird dreams. That was one of the reoccurring dreams I used to have. I had stopped having them. Now I'm always running through a bunch of snakes and getting bit. That's my other kind of nightmare.
I feel like
Go.
I've had a dream like that, but like see, there's only been like a very, very few nightmares that have actually like really affected me. Like I'm sure I've had way more nightmares than I can remember. But
Right.
there's only like really a few that I remember by detail. Like there was a house one with the pond or whatever it was, the aquifer. Another nightmare I've had, pretty recently. Let me find it on him. So those like a lot of details in a dream. It was like one of those very realistic dreams too. Like it feels like it's going by the normal hours of the day. But basically, like Doom and I have a puppy, and he's really, really cute. Well, in the dream, he was a female named I think it was like Jade, something like that. I don't know, but he was she. Our dog was outside and got dog napped by a couple of kids, and I started running for him, and like that's been a fear of mine lately, and won't really get into it, but like, yeah, no, like I'm afraid someone's gonna steal my dog one day. So that happened, and I tried to chase after them, and then I saw a cop, and the cop wouldn't help me, but the cop gave me a walkie-talkie, and then I tried to radio for other cops, which I found one, and then they were like, okay, well, get in, and we'll try to get your dog. And I got in, and the police car turns out to be like a spaceship, and we fly to like a whole other planet, I guess. And then we get there, and it's like a barren wasteland, like kind of like Marsy. But like we could beat them to air, but the thing was, you shouldn't, and you really didn't want to, because the air basically had like a bunch of sand particles, and like in my mind, I remember thinking like basically like razor blades, and every breath you took, the razor blades were just scratching up your lungs. So it was not a good thing. You wanted to be inside, or if you went outside, you wanted to be, like covering your mouth. And once we, like, so we were there, and then some tourists showed up too, which was stupid. But so all this is going on, we find out that, so we're all inside this tiny little house, like the only house in miles. And we're there, and finally a couple of us is like, okay, well, we should like go out there and like investigate. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll go, and I have like a bandana or a scarf over my shoulders, something like that. We go out there and we discover that the guy, like this house we're in, some guy used to live there, and he was about to blow up this entire planet. Like, we find a bomb that I guess was supposed to lead to the core of the planet. And we're just like, oh my god. And we go inside and we only tell like few people. And they're like, okay, well, let's get off. But then this one person was, they were sick because like of the razor blade sand tearing up their lungs, and they couldn't go anywhere. And they were going to lay in this bed and just go with the bomb. And this is suddenly where my dog comes back in there, but it's a golden retriever, I guess, instead. And I tell these people, take my dog home. I want my family to have her. And I say, like, I'm gonna detonate this bomb because she can't, and I'm willing to. And so I'm laying here, and I'm ready to detonate this bomb. And this kid, who was part of the tourists, runs in with my walkie that cop gave me, and it's broken. And he goes, how do I fix it? And he peels off like the top, like the little stick antenna part, and it causes a spike. And in that moment, my dog also comes in. And in that moment, I realized I didn't want to die. But it was too late because that little spike ignited everything in the air, and the entire planet just went. The entire planet was just gone. And that was kind of when I woke up. And that dream messed me up. Like, I still don't know what it means. But the entire day, I could not, like, think. It just messed me up. And I don't know, like, how common of a thing that is, but, like, jeez.
Yeah, like, I know, like, you were not good that day, and
I was not okay.
yeah, it's just kind of crazy to think about, like, how much things like that can affect people.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, you know, people think it's just a dream, get over it, but it's like, you know, when you unwillingly die, or do something in a dream that you probably would never do in real life, it can mess you up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then I've also had, like, you know, I guess more stupid dreams, like I'm driving a car, but then like the brakes go out and stuff, which I feel like's a pretty common dream.
Yeah, I feel like I had way more uncontrollable car dreams when I, like, first started driving, or before I drove a lot, than I have had, like, more recently, I guess. And now that I've actually started driving a lot more.
I actually had the dream when I was like really young, like 8, 9, 10, something like that.
In summary, basically, like, you can have some really weird nightmares that are really freaky, and it's kind of scary to think about, like, where they come from, and I think it's definitely, like, an interesting thing that can be researched, and honestly should be researched more. But yeah, also, like, they can affect you during your waking hours, which is also scary. But yeah, spoop, because Halloween, etc., etc., yay.
Well, actually, something else that I think I want to ask about is, like, why do you think we actually have nightmares? Like, even nightmares that make no sense, like...
Scary
I
clowns.
think all dreams stem from somewhere. Like, certain things have certain meanings. Like, I have dreams where I'm running through a bunch of snakes trying not to get bit, and I'm constantly getting bit. Now, that didn't, like, that, face value, that doesn't look like it would mean anything. But if you kind of think about it, you could turn that into you're running through life trying to avoid bad things, but bad things are still happening to you.
Yeah.
Like everything's I feel like would have a meaning. Some advice I would give to people would be, if you think your dream or your nightmares seem stupid, trust me, it's not. Everyone has really weird dreams, and it's all specific to like certain people. There's certain fears.
Yeah. Here's another thing, though. Like, if you think your dream or nightmare means something, it probably does. If you think it doesn't mean anything, it probably doesn't mean anything. You're pretty much the only person who can distinguish between the two. So if you're not sure, then also it probably doesn't mean anything. But the instant you have a suspicion, what does this dream mean? It probably does have a meaning there. And, talk to people about it. Even if it's just some random other person just, talk it through with them, and maybe, through that you'll be able to figure out, what it means to you. Because it ultimately is a meaning to you. So, yeah.
Even if it's I was dreaming I was driving a car and the brakes went out. Even just something like that,
It could have meaning, but it also could not, It could just be something about your fears or whatever, but yeah. I think it's good to talk about nightmares especially. Especially if they're bothering you, because it, recognizing fears always tends to lessen the fear. So, yeah. I think that pretty much wraps it up for this one. Yeah.
All right.
Fun times. Good to have you here, Seth. Your voice is almost as beautiful as mine. So.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Oh, no, thank you. You're just so great,
Thank you. Trust me.
Don't flatter me. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
And next we'll talk about taking compliments.
Yes. Hopefully. Probably, actually, next time we will talk about accepting compliments. Or something along those lines. But, yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Don't forget to hug your wife or brother or dog, or eat some ice cream and look at the clouds and remember how beautiful life is, because you're amazing and we love you. Bye.
Hope to see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.